want to be honest with you for about 10 minutes. Less polished than usual. No lists, no numbers, no bullet points. Just the thing I keep not saying at family dinners because I'm tired. I keep waiting for someone to come fix it. I want to say that out loud because I think a lot of us are doing it and pretending we're not. We do the doomscroll. We read the explainer threads. We share the chart about how housing costs have outpaced wages by however many %. And somewhere under all of it, very quietly, we're waiting for the adults to walk into the room. The actual adults. The ones who broke the country. The ones who built it before that. Somebody with gray hair and a plan. We keep waiting because that is what we were trained to do. We were raised inside a story where, eventually, the adults handle it. The cavalry comes. The system corrects. I'm going to say the thing I've been thinking for about 5 years now and have not been saying clearly enough. Nobody's coming. That's it. That's the sentence. The cavalry is not coming. The gray-haired adults with a plan are not coming. The senators we keep hoping will retire and be replaced or getting replaced by people exactly like them, sometimes worse. The institutions we keep hoping will reform from the inside are mostly being captured further. The president, whoever it is, whichever party, is not going to fix this for us. They cannot. The problem is too distributed, and the donor class is too entrenched, and the timelines on climate and housing and debt are too short for any one election cycle to undo what 40 years built. The cavalry is us. That is the bad news. That is also somehow the only news that makes sense of any of it. Look, I know how this kind of sentence can sound. Nobody's coming to save us can land like a doom pill, like a give up, like the kind of thing a podcast bro says before pivoting to crypto. I do not mean it that way. I mean it the way a millennial who has been doing this for a while means it, which is more like, I spent my 20s waiting. I spent some of my 30s waiting. I am almost 40 and I am tired of waiting. And the waiting was not a strategy. The waiting was a coping mechanism. And at some point you have to put down the coping mechanism and just look at what's actually in front of you. What's in front of us is a country that has been hollowed out by the people who got to it first. The people who got to it first are not going to give it back voluntarily. They have never given anything back voluntarily. Why would they start now? We can keep being polite about that fact, or we can absorb it and act accordingly. Acting accordingly is the part nobody wants to talk about because acting accordingly is unglamorous. It's not a march. It's not a viral tweet. It's not a TED Talk. It's mostly the slow stuff, knowing your city council members' names, showing up at a zoning meeting where 17 homeowners are trying to block a 40-unit apartment building, volunteering for a campaign, helping someone register to vote, running for school board because the seat is empty and nobody else under 50 is going to fill it. Boring stuff. Reps in the gym. The kind of work that does not get clipped. And the reason nobody talks about it is because it sounds discouraging when you say it out loud. It sounds like the answer is more work. By you, for free, in your spare time, on top of the 3 jobs that don't add up to 1. Which, yeah, that is what it sounds like. That is what it is. I'm not going to pretend that it isn't. But here's the thing I keep coming back to. The people who built the country we wish we still lived in, the post-war country, the New Deal country, the one with the strong unions and the affordable colleges and the pensions, they did not have free time either. They worked terrible jobs, they worked long hours, they came home tired, and then in the few hours they had at night, they organized. They went to union meetings, they went to church basement meetings, they knocked on doors, they built the conditions their kids grew up in by working a second shift that nobody paid them for, because they understood. And I do not know how exactly they understood, but they did. That if they did not build it, nobody was going to build it for them. They had less time than we have, less information than we have, and they built more than we have. That is humbling. It is also instructive. I think about that a lot. I think about my friend's grandfather who worked the night shift at a plant for 30 years, who came home at 6 a.m. and slept for 6 hours and then went to the union meeting in the basement of a Catholic church on a Tuesday night. He did not have a thread to read. He did not have an explainer video. He had a folding chair and other men who showed up. And what those folding chairs produced over 30 years was the country we still occasionally get nostalgic about. They built it on no sleep and no education and basically no information. They just kept showing up. We have so much more than they had. We have information. We have each other across the entire country instantly. We have models from other countries that work. We have data. We have media. We have language. We have everything they did not have except somehow the thing that they did have, which was the daily habit of showing up to the unglamorous work of building things together. That is the part we lost. That is the part nobody is going to give back to us. We have to rebuild it ourselves the way they did, and folding chairs in basements, except the basement is now Discord, and the union meeting is now a tenant organizing call, and the church is now whatever you can find. I want to tell you what scares me. Not because I want to scare you, because I think honesty about the fear is the only way past it. What scares me is that my generation, the older millennials especially, were the test run for what's happening to you. And we mostly didn't do anything about it. We complained. We posted. We voted, some of us, some of the time. But we mostly accepted it. We accepted that we wouldn't own homes. We accepted that we wouldn't have pensions. We accepted that we'd carry student debt into our 40s. We learned to call our acceptance being realistic. And we use that word to mean something it does not actually mean. I do not want you to do that. I do not want Gen Z to spend 20 years being realistic. Realistic is what we called it when we ran out of fight. Realistic is the word for the moment you decided that what was being done to you was inevitable. It was not inevitable. We just got tired, and our being tired is on us. And I want to apologize for it, because it was contagious. And the version of tired we exported to your generation was a tired you inherited before you had a chance to build any other relationship to your own life. If I could give you one thing, it would be this. Do not become realistic about this. Not in the way we did. The conditions are not nature. They are policy. The policy is changeable. Other countries have changed similar policies. We can change ours. It will take a long time, and it will be unglamorous, and it will not happen because somebody important rides in to save us. It will happen because a lot of us, in a lot of rooms, over a lot of years, refused to stop showing up. Realistic was the word we learned to use when we ran out of fight. Don't inherit the word. Okay, the boomer elite part. I always do the boomer elite part. I'll keep it short tonight because the rest of this is supposed to be honest conversation, not the indictment. And I have done the indictment plenty. If you are one of the people who built this, and you know if you are, I want you to understand that we are not waiting for you to do the right thing. We were, for a while. We're not anymore. What you do or do not do with the rest of your life is, at this point, your moral problem, not our political strategy. The strategy is around you now. You can join it or step aside. Either way, the project is happening. I do not say that triumphantly. I say it the way you tell someone at a meeting that the agenda is moving on, calmly, with no investment in whether they feel good about it. We have a country to put back together. You are welcome to be useful. You are not, at this point, necessary. Take your seat or vacate it. Either works. Gen Z, last thing. You're going to do this. You're going to do most of it, actually. My generation is going to help where we can. And we have some good people in the right rooms now. We're gaining numbers every year, but the bulk of the rebuilding is going to fall on you because you are younger and you have more time, and the country you build is going to be the country you have to live in for the next 60 years. That is a lot of pressure. I want to acknowledge it without making it worse. Here's what I would say to you if it was just us, just at the kitchen table, everyone else gone to bed. You are not crazy. You are not weak. You are not too much. You are not addicted to your phone in some unique generational pathology. You are not entitled. You are inside a set of conditions that would have broken any generation. And you are not broken. You are tired, and tired is not the same as broken. And the way you stop being tired is not by sleeping more. It's by stopping waiting for someone else to handle it. Because the waiting is what's exhausting. The waiting is heavier than the work. Stop waiting. Pick one small thing. Show up. Pick a second small thing. Show up again. Find people doing the same. That is how it always actually worked, every single time in every successful movement in this country's history. It was never one big rescue. It was 100 million boring moments of people refusing to stop. We refuse to stop. That's the whole strategy. That's all of it. Nobody is coming. We are who's coming. That is the bad news, and also somehow the only good news we ever actually had. Nobody's coming to save us. We are who's coming. Start showing up.